so welcome to another episode of Not Another Gamer Show. It is the week after EVO. With me today I have real, legitimate Las Vegas EVO contestants, competitors, and some EVO winners. So what I want to do is kind of take it from here to there. Introductions, name, tag name, who are you?
Alright, my name's Malik Terry, my gamer tag is MIT, and I play MK9 in Injustice.
Alright, and you got me, Denzel, that's how everybody knows me. My gamer tag's DJT, or Crazy DJT88. I play MK9, Injustice, bodying people.
Okay.
My name is Janeem Hawkins, formerly a first-person shooter. Going to the name FLAWEDZILLA back then, now I'm C88 FLAWEDZILLA. I play Injustice and MK.
And I am Daniel, and I will not be saying my last name because it is too long, but I go by Ruin, now known as IC Ruin, obviously sponsored by Insert Coins. I play pretty much everything, but my main game would be right now would be Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
So I have basically legitimate contenders for EVO and pretty much any other kind of professional fighting game tournament that's out there. And for me, EVO's a big deal, and I'm just a spectator, you know. It's been 8 years now that I've been going to the EVO events, and this is the first time where I really felt like there was a strong Las Vegas representation. But more important than that was how many people really watched it this year. You know, online it was just groundbreaking in terms of how many people were watching. But I still don't think enough people know. So who wants to tell me a little bit about what EVO is to them, what EVO is, and what EVO is going to be?
EVO is like, you know, it's like the Super Bowl of fighting games. You know, everyone comes from Japan, they come from Asia, Europe, America, South America, they come all over the place. It's very hype, there's a lot of people, it's very hard winning, and you know, it's fun seeing all the people. You meet people you've seen before online, some people you already know them, and sometimes you meet new people, and it's very like, you know, it's tense and pressuring, but it feels real good when you get that medal at the end if you get top 8.
Well, it's easy to say when you win a medal. Hey, Ruin, how's that medal doing?
Well, I haven't had one in like 6 years, so it's been a while, but I mean, I've been there before. So.
But EVO is definitely about the community. It's a big deal about, you know, the people that you meet, but I am still waiting to see when it becomes a little more validated in terms of real big money prizes. You know, you have MLG. You guys have been involved with the MLG, yes?
Yeah.
Indeed.
What'd you guys do at MLG?
Well, MLG, we play MK, and I think it was Anaheim. The first one we went to was MLG Anaheim, and you go there, and it's like all professional, like everything's all set up already. Like at the door, they have like the 2 security guards, like to check for your passes and wristband if you're a spectator. They have all the referees. Like there's a little ref for like each match. Like you have a ref, like it's you, me and him are playing, and then there's a ref right there looking at the match. It's not like just like one like ref for like the whole pool. It's like one ref for like each match. So like they see everything. Like nothing's missed. You don't have to wait for like if the ref is playing in the middle of the tournament. It's just them. They're ready. They're already
clean.
there. Like
Yeah,
you tell them right away. Like it's real professional. They make you sign and stuff when you win. It's real. It's simple. And there's like a whole bunch of stuff you can win. Like while you're there, they have all these like little like drawings and stuff. You get
raffles.
like raffles, like $5 raffles.
They have side tournaments.
You can win like razors or something.
So basically with quote-unquote the eSports world, it seems to be a little more structured, refined. There's a lot more money, clearly, in terms of prize money. But we still have a strong love for EVO and the fighting game community. It's just like that little bastard child who we just love. But we want to see him grow up and get that doctorate and, you know, be big. So we want to see EVO get bigger. But we can't ignore the fact that eSports is so prevalent in terms of cash prize money.
Yeah, they have a lot more cash coming in. They're very consistent. They run on time. They do cap their players just to make sure everything runs smoothly because they're running so many games.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're running RTS games, League of Legends, first-person shooters, Call of Duty, Halo.
Those games last forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, like when I first started, like MLG first was introduced to me when I was playing Halo 2 and Gears of War. And you know the thing with fighting games versus FPSs and RTS games, fighting game players, they actually work as hard, if not on some occasions, a little more than the 5-on-5 games because it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
You know, so it's if you mess up, isn't my teammate wasn't playing so well this game, or it wasn't oh, I wasn't feeling that good, my team had to do all the work for me. It's you versus one other person.
I want to blame yourself.
Yeah, it's not even character versus character at that point. I mean, if they get in your head, sometimes you forget frame data, sometimes you mess up. But, you know, despite all this hard work you're putting in, which is equivalent, if not more at times, you're only getting paid like not even a third of how much you're getting for Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty.
I mean, I've heard $1 million prize packages in some of these events.
League of Legends Worlds was 1 million. Dota 2 points some odd change million. And,
I guess like kind of what he was touching on is it goes back to like you said, esports. It's in the name. It's esports. You know, they're trying to approach it as a more professional. If you look at the presentation of it, I mean, obviously it's just a more professional thing. The commentators, they don't just something in the FGC. Well, it's more grassroots. It's more like community based. So it's very inviting to get normal people in the community involved. So if you're just some of the guys that play, they'll let you come up. They'll let you commentate usually. And unfortunately, I think that sometimes, while that's good, also sometimes it can hinder the experience because sometimes you get people that maybe aren't as knowledgeable about it. Where you watch an esports event, the people that are commentating, the casters, they're professional. They know everything about the game. They're not going to go on there and hit you with some buzzwords or just memes or things like that. They're going to be very informed about the game. They're going to know what they're talking about. And like I said, it's just a more professional product. Where EVO, obviously, it's more of it's kind of an open tournament. Anyone can join. It's not capped. You can have as many people.
Sure.
But like I said, both things are, have their pros and cons. EVO obviously is, and I mean, I've been going there since before it was called EVO, and I think it's the event I look for towards all the time towards the end of the year. It's what I want to play in the biggest thing, but. Yeah, it's just you can't compare esports comparison to FGC. They're just two different beasts,
The funny thing is, is when you talk about esports and FGC, the people who talk about it are the people who are in esports and FGC. If I have this conversation outside on a strip in Las Vegas, you only got 14 heads.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
No.
But there's a reason for people to know what's going on.
Yes.
And what I'm really hoping that we see one day is that it can be packaged so that it can be sold to a normal person, let's just say someone outside of the world of gaming.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, the last time I watched a League of Legends, tournament on Twitch TV, they were talking all this terminology, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Click, turn off, not interested. Watch a fighting game tournament. Yes, they are a little more rough around the edges, but like you say, it's more inviting to understand what's going on. The action on the screen is always a little more interesting, so it's like, okay, I get what's going on. I think the biggest problem that we have is how do we sell it to people outside of the world that we live in? So I posed the question to any of you. How do you sell this professional video gaming event to the outside world?
Well, I think unfortunately, if I had the answer to that, I'd probably be doing it myself. I'd probably be running events right now. And I think that's the problem is right now no one's been able to figure out, how to take it past that, how to take it past the little niche market that it is and, and take it beyond that. Because like you said, while games have become more socially acceptable and they're more ingrained in our culture now than, they were before. I mean, things like this weren't possible before, but they're becoming more possible now. But still, like you said, still a very niche market. My friend, when he tells people, hey, I'm going to EVO, they're like, oh, people play Street Fighter in tournaments? Normal people would never think that would happen, because it doesn't hit someone's radar. It's not something that's, as big. And like you said, to the average person, if they're watching it and they can't get immersed in it or they can't, figure out what's going on, they'll find it boring and turn it off. And they won't see much into it because to them it could look as something as simple as, hey, they're just throwing fireballs or jumping at each other. They don't see all the little intricacies and things that go into the match. So it's like if that's not being able to, if you can't convey that to a regular audience, it'll never be able to grow. But I think right now we just don't have any we haven't been able to figure out a way to be able to market it outside of the people that already compete.
I think what's interesting is there was maybe about 1 or 2 months ago, I had you, Ruin, play Marvel's Capcom 3 in front of some potential business partners of mine.
Yep.
And they were amazed with what was going on. And they were looking at his hands, they're looking at the screen, and they're looking at him like, how is this at all possible? So I think there's a way, as you said, we haven't figured out yet how. But eventually, I think we all want to see it get bigger. Of
course.
I mean, we have Mr. Second Place right here in EVO,
and he won.
And first place, Mortal
place.
Kombat 9
Yeah.
for EVO 2013 winner, and second place, losing unfortunately to an overpowered Superman.
Bro.
But
So solid.
It is what it is. But and I did like the character switch actually when you went over to Doomsday. Like, all right, fuck it. Let's try it with this. You made for good TV. So please tell us a little bit about, what was going through your head as you competed and represented Las Vegas, which is another good look with that UNLV hoodie. I mean, thank you.
Yeah.
Rep the 702. But tell me a little bit about, how did you get into Mortal Kombat? How did you get into Injustice? And what made you become, now an EVO champion?
At first, I just played games for fun, like whatever, it doesn't matter. And then we got Street Fighter. I think it was like 2010 or something like that. We played online. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were losing the scrubs and shit. And then we started looking at stuff online, like how to do combos. And,
and we watched EVO too, and we saw Daigo, and so oh, they look really good.
Yeah, and
then play like this.
We started looking up videos and stuff and then we learn and stuff. We get better. And then I think one of our friends was talking about, you guys should go to EVO. We're like, what's EVO?
We're like, it's in Vegas. Wait, it's in Vegas. We should be going to this. We never even knew about this.
Yeah, so we're like, why are we not going to this? And then we went to the first EVO for MK. The first match I played, my buttons were messed up and I lost to some random Sub-Zero player. I was like, what? I was like, let me check my buttons. He probably thought I was some scrub or something. And then I played him and then I beat him 2-1. I was like, alright, I'm good now. And then when I played on the monitors, Asus monitor, it's not like the TVs I usually play on, so it's kind of the timing was different. I had to get used to it. It was kind of slow or something. I don't know. It just felt weird. But
So wait, time out. Let me stop you. You became as good as you are by playing on a non-Asus lag-free TV.
Yes.
See, it's possible. You goddamn elitist fighting game community people. Please continue.
But that also doesn't mean it's optimal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop there, but yeah, continue.
Well, how many people are at the finals for top 8? Do you think in that room?
A couple.
I'd say 2,000 at least.
Couple thousand
At least 2,000.
So 2,000 people are watching you play a video game.
Yeah, some bring
you
their
have
own.
people
Some
on
bring
the
their own
same
Count
banners.
the viewership that's coming in.
And the
from
viewership that
online
comes in.
streaming.
Yeah.
How many people do you think are watching online?
I
Approximately.
think they
Those
said
over
120,
100,000.
120K.
120,000
Yeah.
set of eyes are looking at you online.
People-
2,000 people are in there yelling, screaming, hooting, hollering.
With banners,
banners,
chanting your name.
all kinds of nonsense was going on. I saw flags being waved in the air.
Yep.
And you make it to top 8. And you're playing against a Superman character. And you have the crowd behind you because everyone's mad that he's using an overpowered character. Give me a little bit of what's going on in your head while you're playing. Because you played it real cool.
That's how I've gotten. At first I used to be nervous about tournaments, but now it's just it's I'm at home playing him at home and shit. I was at the finals whatever, I'm about to beat this dude. If I lose, I lose. I'm still getting paid a little something. So I was yeah, the first match, I played him in winners before the grand finals, and I was alright, I won this first match. I think I'm about to win this whole thing. And then the second fight, I was fuck, in the corner.
Superman.
70% in the corner. I was damn.
Yep.
And I was like,
It's
be
that
more
one
patient.
mistake, cause I'm doing good, I'm doing way better, I'm playing footsies and stuff, I'm zoning them, and then you make that one mistake, you get more
Good
damage,
games.
you're in the corner.
2-bar, 84%.
Yes, it's stupid. And then you have interactables and Injustice.
Throwing
That's
TVs at you, lights.
a free
That's
car.
hilarious.
He'll just throw lasers
Yep.
at you, and then when you get close, cause then he just throws the car on top of you, damn.
Trip over a cord.
Charge your best.
Yes, it's stupid. Interactables are unblockables, and they track you, and it's kind of stupid. You gotta use meter. You waste meter to go through it.
It's like a
And-
focus attack that needs a meter.
But you
that's
lose
not good.
15 to 30% of your life depending on the interact. So
Yep.
that's big
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah, and also different characters I know take advantage of interactables
Yeah.
different too. So there's characters that might take advantage of it better than your character too. So that's another advantage that might come with it.
So once again, what I'm seeing is, while I understand everything you're saying, the people who are watching right now are footsies, interactables, zoning,
Yeah.
There needs to be a way to present exactly the science that fighting games actually present.
And people
same
talk
thing
about
with
it, yeah.
eSports as well, in terms of, as I said when I was watching League of Legends or Dota, I'm like,
Yeah.
how do we speak that language outside? Do we have to? Not for nothing, if you watch a professional football game, not everyone knows about, different formations
Yeah.
and different plays, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still watched. How do we get people to... this is entertaining shit. How come more people aren't watching?
The thing is, you have to, the way they present basketball, football, is contact sport. You have a chance of getting hurt. You're playing video games, it's oh, that's just a form of entertainment. They're just pushing buttons. As Ruben was calling earlier about spacing and zoning, some people, the casual, just a typical person would call it spamming. projectiles or just doing the same thing over and over.
They don't know
and like I said, it's hard to convey that spacing and zoning isn't, you know, just spamming. You know, it's an art to it. Like, you're trying to keep someone at this range and safely. Yeah. So if they jump or if they do something unsafe, you can whiff punish. But like, it's hard to convey a whiff punish. Like, okay, well, if they miss me, I can do this much damage to them. You know, like I said, it's not really a contact sport when you're playing video games, so they don't really like. It's hard for them to grasp that it's a science more so than you two are just playing something you really enjoy, and it's really hard to.
Yeah, and I think in general, people just kind of assume that if you're tuning in to watch a stream, I mean, if you watch any of the people, you know, that do the stream, let's say someone like James Chen or Ultra David, they're actually really good, in my opinion, at conveying what is actually going on, and they'll take time out of the normal match and let people know, oh, this is this. They'll kind of explain briefly what a footsie is, what a fireball is. But the problem is, yeah, it's kind of hard, like you said. I think the tournaments are kind of based on the assumption that the people are watching are the niche players that are attending the tournaments. But you're saying that we need to find a way to, you know, broaden it. And I actually think, even though you said when you were watching League of Legends it wasn't easy to follow, but I think when you watch an esports tournament, they're a lot better at conveying actually what's going on than a fighting game tournament is because it is so professional. So they'll take their time and really explain like what's going on. I mean, I never watched the StarCraft tournament, and I started watching them just because I knew all the money that was involved. So that interested me in watching it. And I don't know how to play StarCraft, but when they tell me like, oh, this is what's happening, he's trying to do this, they convey it in a lot more detail than most commentators in the fighting game community do. Outside of a couple, there are a couple of people that do it, but I think it doesn't have as strong as esports community. If you were to ask me how to branch out to get other people to understand it, it would be being able to explain everything more and just spreading information more. It's all about, you know, having the information out there, but it's kind of hard to pack everything in right now to, you know, to that. Like, how do you cater towards the person that the specialist, like if Denzel is watching or something, he's watching a Mortal Kombat match, he wants to hear the technical analysis. He doesn't want to be explained.
The color commentary.
Yeah. He doesn't want to hear, oh, this is a fireball. He knows what a fireball is, you know? So it's like, how do you hit both audiences? I think that's where the problem kind of
So how many players did you go through to get to your top 8? To win your second place in Injustice?
I think I played like 10
well,
players.
To get to top 8, you had to beat 4, then you won 3 matches, I believe.
7, yeah, you have to play 8
So
matches.
7 to get to top 8, and then 2 more to get to the grand finals.
So then how many people total were in the tournament?
655.
So 655 people. And then the Mortal Kombat tournament?
About 233.
Yeah,
About 233.
Yeah.
That's not about, that's accurate. Ruin, Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I think it had 1,300 people.
So 1,300 people.
Yeah.
There's
being
that
the biggest.
many people who play to a level that would wax anybody on the streets.
And there's probably more, honestly.
There's probably
That's
more,
just
they
the people
just don't
that
know
come
about
out. Yeah.
And
there's
how many
people that come
people
out.
were we getting this year at EVO that were international? We had a lot of Japan, Chinese,
Yep.
South America, Mexico.
There was about 51 countries at least.
51
It's
countries
ridiculous.
are coming to Las Vegas to play. I'm doing this to make the people understand just how big this unknown event is.
Yeah.
That's a lot of countries flying into Vegas, getting hotel rooms, partying afterwards,
Yep.
and competing
Yeah.
for big money.
Well over 30% of the people that attended were international.
And then
Yeah.
how many people were there that weren't even contenders? They were just
There
viewers
for
like myself.
spectating. Yep. Just
Yeah,
spectating,
there's
yeah.
just so many of
At
them.
least a couple, 2,000 or more at least.
All sitting there just to watch and enjoy it for the entertainment.
You know, and Rowan, you consistently, you know, are in a lot of tournaments locally as well as in California, and you are always placing, you know, in top 8. Unfortunately, you didn't make it to top 32 this year, but you know, we watch the fights as always because we root you won. But
Appreciate that.
you know, my thing that I always wonder is with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, as exciting as it is to watch, and the hype moments that we saw in terms of the Justin Wong comeback, you know, in terms of just, I mean, really anyone playing Chris G, you know, the unstoppable Chris G, and those things have such huge stories behind it. That game has so much passion behind it. When are you gonna stop playing and focus on the new Ultra Street Fighter 4? Because you ain't winning Marvel vs. Capcom 3, buddy. You're not doing it.
I know. I mean, if we were gonna talk about that realistically, anyone has a better chance winning a Marvel tournament than a Street Fighter tournament. The Street Fighter has the highest level of competition because it has such an international presence. I mean, you have the Japanese, which are amazing. Korea plays. You know, there's so many people that are coming out in. if you were realistically to talk about Marvel, Marvel's an American game. Outside of Nemo coming in and taking everybody's money in money matches, it's an American game. There's no doubt about it. So it's like if you're telling me I have to compete against just America, Marvel's the best. If I'm playing Street Fighter 4, I'm competing against the world and specialists all over. Street Fighter is definitely the hardest game to play right now at the highest level. If you're trying to compete at the highest level, that's the hardest game. There is no doubt about it. Just because of the sheer numbers, the information that's out there, how long it's been out, there's all these contributing factors that make that game as hard as it is to play. Where Marvel, it's still a newer game, or even something per se as Injustice. You know, the people that were Mortal Kombat specialists have a leg up because it's also not played, you know, internationally as much. So it's not as hard of a field as it would be for a Street Fighter game. Because
how happy were you to see the large number of different characters in the Street Fighter tournament versus, you know, what we normally see where it's just maybe 3 or 4 major mains, you know, your top tier. You know, we saw a lot. We didn't see that much Cammy this year, which is kind of nice to see in terms of, you know, your top 32. You know, we saw, again, you know, do work. We saw Hakan, which was awesome. Yeah. You know, but what was interesting to see those were foreign players. So, are we now going to see a shift maybe in the American players? No, we'll still see Rufus and we'll
America likes cheap.
America's comfortable.
That's always been one of the things that's been discussed. Is if you go somewhere per se like Japan, you know, people play a character that they like or something, and they say they kind of set it out to say like, no, it's not about the matchup. I'm going to learn this character because I, you know, have some kind of connection or whatever you want to call it, and they'll figure it out. Where in America, it's just kind of our route where we'll decide, well, we want the most effective, easiest way of getting there. We'll take that road, and it doesn't always pan out to be the best, so that's kind of one of the problems.
America hasn't won EVO and Street Fighter.
Who's easy to
pick
up?
That's why, because like I said, the international presence is too strong.
Who does the most damage, who's easy to pick up, who has the dirtiest strings, who do I not have to work so hard with and get an easy win. I mean, I don't like to say that's the mentality, but it's the truth. It's the mentality for most of us American players.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that's very vague because there are people in the U.S. that play, you know, characters that they just genuinely like or don't care about matchups. I mean, even someone, you know, Justin Wong, who plays. Realistically, Rufus is not a great character in Street Fighter 4. It's just he's put in so much time. Him and Ricky are just amazing players, and they're talented, and they're examples of, you know, you can make your character work still, but it's gonna make you take more work, you know. And it's like most people don't want to do. I know I don't. I pick the cheapest shit possible right off the bat. Like, there's no doubt about it.
So let me ask all of you guys individually. You know, I'd like to see this world again, and I'm going to keep reiterating it over and over again. It's something that I'm in love with the fighting game community. I'm a fan of being a part of it. I do what I can to see it elevate, you know, and for the people who are watching, who should they be watching for? Like, what are some names that they can go online, go to YouTube, look up certain players' names, besides, of course, yourself, Mr. Champion, and, you know, just basically they could see what it is that we're talking about in terms of these are people with personalities, these are people with character, and these are people to watch out for because they're amazing at what they do in terms of the video game community.
I would probably say look up people. I'd say look up Justin Wong because he plays like any game he gets his hands on, he can play. So you can like if you play this game, you can connect to him and like he's just like he's a cool person. Like when you talk to him in person, he's cool as well. So him, look up Daigo because everyone knows him. He's like he's the beast. He's the best Street Fighter player just in history.
Dominion, because he always finds like the lamest character to play, and and it's not easy playing lame a whole match. Given to his credit, it's not easy at all. It's not. It's really tough to stick to your game plan and work through it. Chris G, of course, because he's Chris Jesus. So.
Chris G, the God.
Yeah, Chris Jesus. He does what he needs to when he gets there. In every game he plays.
I mean, if you're looking at, like, just to touch on that, I mean, if they're talking about personalities, Justin Wong, you know, Filipino champ, any of the people that really invest themselves in the game and, you know, they're interesting to watch, those two come to mind. I guess the quickest would be Filipino champ and Chris G, Justin Wong, because they're at the top of their game. They have personalities and they invest so much of themselves in the game that you know you can see their struggles and their pain, and you really I guess can become a fan for what they're doing. Those would be the guys I'd mention the most. But I'd say they should mention some of the, because I don't know the MK community. Oh, Perfect Legend, obviously. Yeah, Perfect Legend is another guy.
Perfect Legend,
He's
almost won 3 EVOs.
Almost, it's not easy winning 2 EVOs,
not at all.
Top 8ing 3 EVOs.
Yeah, and he won 1 in DOA as well. Yeah,
and I think it's important to to really kind of compare what EVO is. It is the World Series of Street Fighter. It is the World Series of Mortal
fighting
Kombat.
games. Yeah.
It's the World Series of fighting games.
Yeah.
It is no different than the World Series of poker. It's a huge
Just smaller
field.
buy-ins.
It's a huge field of players. You're going through a lot to get to the top. When you do, you get a lot of respect from that community. And you know, one of the things that I thank over and over again is that you guys represent Las Vegas, and you're representing, to me, a sport in its infancy. And there's a way to see it grow. You guys are going to be the leaders in doing that. Because, you know, I mean, EVO's been out for how many years now?
Since
I mean,
it started in 1996, but became EVO in 2002.
so I'm
that'd
saying,
be
so
about
since
11
1996,
years.
these guys have been growing this community to a point where you're filling convention centers in Las Vegas. This is not a joke.
No.
MLG, when they do events, is $1 million pots. Don't sleep on people who play video games. Just don't, because it's going to be real soon where, does my kid play Little League Baseball, or does he start learning to throw a fireball? I mean, that's really what we're talking about right now. And, you know, we haven't even touched on Call of Duty, and I know you guys got into the MLG earlier in your, you know, video game careers, but everyone plays Call of Duty. It's recognizable. And there's going to be a lot of money to be made in this, and I just can't say it enough is that there's a lot of money in video games. Don't sleep. You have 120,000 people watching EVO online. You have 2,000 people in one room watching these guys play. It's a big deal, and you know, I just want to thank all of you guys for coming in and you know, just giving us a little insights to what you saw at EVO. You got anything else? Any closing comments? I mean, please, I open the floor.
I guess just if obviously I'd like people to take a bigger interest in fighting games. If you really want to figure more about the competitive scene or just get any kind of footing, I mean, there's places, event hubs, eventhubs.com, suryuken.com. These are places where you can connect with other players. You can discuss strategy, and you can see videos on there too. So that's a place where you can start immersing yourself in the community and really seeing what it's about. So I just say check those out. Every place really has a scene. I mean, a lot of people are unaware. I mean, they told me before they didn't know anyone played MK here outside until they went to a tournament. So I think right now it's just spreading the information and getting people aware that there is a competitive scene, and I think that'll grow the community. And I'll leave the rest to them.
I'll go here.
Right.
I feel like
This is the talker.
Yeah. We call him Coach MIT.
I feel like like the communities, like tournaments, like EVO, maybe ECT, maybe Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament. I feel like they should be advertised better because like when I go to school, I'll be like, so what'd you do this week? I'm like, I went to a video game tournament. I'm like, what? You went to a video game tournament? I'm like, yeah, I went to a video game tournament. I play, I get a little money. People watch me play and stuff. They're like, oh, so you can do that professionally? I'm like, yeah. So I feel like if it was advertised better, like football is National Football League, NBA, it'd be bigger. The cash spots would be bigger. It'd just be helpful for us.
Like commercials.
Yeah, commercials. Yeah.
Yeah, no, what he hit on I think is the best. Like I said, the awareness just isn't out there.
Yeah,
There's so many people that just are so unaware. I mean, how many times has it been in here that I'm playing Marvel vs. Capcom and someone who's just a regular person, like you said, will say, hey, you play this like in tournaments and competitively? They have no clue that it exists, even though it's as big as we've expressed, but there's still a large portion of people that have no clue this is going on. So.
When I was eating at a restaurant this weekend at Bally, well, not this weekend, but the EVO weekend at Bally's, I had an older couple. They're asking like, "What are you guys here for?" And we told them we're here for the. They're like, for the convention. I'm like, well, the fighting game convention, EVO. Yeah, we're here for that. It's a tournament. They're like, oh, they actually host tournaments for fighting games. I'm like, yeah, and it actually pays. And they're like, oh wow, you can get paid to play video games. Like,
they're so surprised by it.
And they're like, oh wow, and they actually ask like, tell me more about it.
And they think it's interesting.
They're curious.
They think it's real interesting. Like they always ask me about it at school. I'm like, yeah, I get to do this and that. And they're like, whoa, that's cool.
I say it time and time again. I also enjoy the game of poker. I play poker. If you can make watching poker exciting, it's not that hard to make watching a fighting game exciting.
Yeah.
It's not. We just gotta find what it is. Maybe what we need is that outsider to come in and just take a look at it and find a way to spin it a little bit and just make it a little more accessible to the general audience. And I'm just got my fingers crossed, hoping that day happens soon. So Dana White, I know you're watching, and if you're not, someone at the UFC, send this over to Dana. We have, coming at the end of this year, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. And Mr. Dana White made sure to say that the greatest fighting game to come out is going to be the new UFC game.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying UFC fan. If you are a fight fan, this is going to be the best fight game ever made.
Now, I'll respect his opinion, but we're going to probably humbly disagree. However, Dana, I'd love to see what you think about how to get this community, just as you had your community with the UFC, clean it up, make it a little more specialized, sell the package a little bit better. That's really what we need. You know, we need someone with that experience who said, I made something that everyone in the world now loves. That everyone, like you said, I remember when UFC first came out, it was like, let's take the big giant sumo guy versus the kung fu. Good luck. And we all watched. You know, remember the Tank Abbotts of the world, you know, and now here we are, maybe what, 10, 15, 20 years later, and, you know, we have what's basically bigger than boxing. And the fighting game community and video games, it's competition. And all these sports, it's competition. People love competition. I think what really needs to happen, though, is that the people need to be educated as to what it is that you guys do. And then once there's a better grasp of it, and maybe when there's that one guy who, I don't know who it is, or one girl, whoever it is, that's like that star that has that crossover potential, then, I mean, you guys were right there for it. And it's I'm telling you guys, the fighting game community is no joke. Video game tournaments, they're not going away. So embrace it, you know, find out what you have in your local community in terms of video game tournaments, get involved. You know, most of the time when you play these games, it is hard in the beginning. Believe you me, I play just to get my ass kicked by Ruin. But it's fun. He teaches me new nuances, and then when I play somebody who's not Ruin, I do well, and it's fun. So, you know that what you're doing has the potential to make you lots of money. There's a very strong community. We're all out here together. You know, gamers are always uniting. And, you know, I just want to thank you guys again, and congratulations on your successes at EVO. And, you know, more important than that, congratulations on, you know, the further work you put into, you know, bring this community up, and a lot more exposure in Las Vegas is what really is what we need, you know. So on that note, I thank you, and now another gamer show, EVO Recap 2013. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
I have an Arcade Legends game that I have a hard drive that pretty much has a bunch of games on it, which is good because kinda, I mean, I'm the Williams guy. I used to like Defender and Stargate and Robotron